Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through and quickly doing my round 8 tip analysis, as well as going through and tipping for round 9, trying to keep these videos under around that 10-minute mark, as 1, it limits the editing, which is always good, and 2, I don't want to ramble on about things, especially because half the stuff turns out to be not true, because these are filmed before team sheets, because we still have Thursday games. When we have Friday games only and no Thursday nighters, then with the team sheets being known and me being able to release these on the Friday, I'll be able to sort of know in depth about the sides that are actually playing. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So, showdown, I swear I put 9, I swear I put 10, but it says here on the footy tips that my margin was 9. So I remember looking at this and just thinking what happened. So I must have just misclicked in this one. And yeah, so I think I tipped by 10 and they won by 30 Adelaide. So I was really, really happy about that tip. And I was 21 points off, whatever, as they won by 30 against Port in a game that I don't think many tipped. Then you have Carlton against Collingwood. And I mean, I would have got this tip right if Sammy Walsh actually tracked his man. As I don't think Dacos would have gotten it off and kicked the goal. But Collingwood won by 6 points in another thriller. I said Carlton by 15. They lost by 6. Not the worst tip in the world. Yes, it was it was a wrong tip, but I'm not too I guess disheartened about this tip a little bit. I don't know. It was a very, very close game, and Carlton could easily won that. Sydney against GWS. The boys got the job done at the SCG. It feels so good to get that job done. Yes, Tom Green was out missing. Basically from about 5-minute mark. But, yeah, we did have no Tom McCartan for half the game, and Robbie Fox went back into the sort of defensive slot there and really helped out as he plays as an undersized key, and yeah, that was almost the perfect sub to have Fox there, who can cover the the forward line or the back line, depending on injury. And yeah, he can go small or tall in both lines. So really happy about that, and yeah, just really happy that the Swans got it over the Giants. Yes, there will be an interesting one at the selection table. I'm predicting we see Aaron Francis for the Swans, which I don't necessarily like, but you've got to sometimes reward the form in the VFL. I personally would rather Robbie Fox just play as an undersized key for a week or two when Tommy McCartan's not there. But then again, he's not there, so... Then you have St Kilda. I'm trying to get through this. St Kilda versus North Melbourne. I said St Kilda by 48. They won by 38. So yeah, pretty good tip there. Melbourne against Geelong. I got this tip right as well. I said Melbourne by 13. They won by 8. That's a really good tip, I reckon. West Coast against Essendon. I said Essendon by 17. I thought West Coast would put up a decent challenge, and they did. If Cripps hadn't... punched or whatever, or shoved, was it Nick Martin to the ground or something like that, this game probably was a draw, or on cards for a draw. So yeah, Essendon probably, I think, had a lot more chances. I think Essendon kicked 11-11, so they would have had chances to kick away there. Then you've got Richmond against Freo. I said Freo by 15. I didn't believe Richmond would collapse that much, and they pretty much just collapsed in the last quarter. I think Freo kicked 7 or 8 in the last, so they pretty much doubled their score in the last. Then I predicted Western Bulldogs, which I'm pretty sure I might be something like 1 or 2 for 8 with Western Bulldogs this year, as I tipped them to win and they lose, and I tipped them to lose and they win. I tipped Western Bulldogs by 57 points, and they lost. Then I tipped Brisbane by 13. They won by 34 against the Gold Coast Suns, in which they had no players on the sub bench in the last quarter and still pretty much held it even. So yeah, we move on to round 9. Carlton against Melbourne. I'm actually going to just go for Melbourne in this scenario. I think Melbourne are getting back to their best. I think Clary's getting back to his best. I think Gawn is doing what Gawn does best. And then I also think that Petrarca is turning a corner. And yes, Carlton have Walsh back, but and he's firing. Cripps is doing all right. But yeah, I'm just predicting Melbourne by 10 points here. As I think Melbourne also do have Bowie back as well, which should help them out. Geelong against Port. Geelong definitely, with all the recent news of Port's guys going down. Rosé, Sweet, Burgoyne, Jones as well. I think they have 4 or 5 changes. Georgiades might be out as well, but I think he was safe from the media report that we heard. But I'm going Geelong by 34 points at the Cattery. I think they bounced back from their defeat last week, and I think they smash Port Adelaide and teach them a lesson, basically. Freo against Sydney. I'm going Sydney here, and I believe this one will be a tight one just because Freo do have Nat Fyfe as he basically was resting, and he played a sub quarter. So, yeah, I do think he'll be back. And Swans should have Luke Parker back, and we're predicting that for Wicks that he slots in for and plays that sort of forward role, 30 to 40% CBAs. So I think that will add some more grunt and some more pressure in the forward line when he does play as a sort of pressure forward and sort of a little bit of a midfielder at time as well. And so that should help, but McCartan out does probably pose a little bit of problem. So I'm going to go Sydney by 14 points over in the West. Hawthorn against St Kilda. I'm going St Kilda. I think they need to bounce back. I mean, they did beat North Melbourne, but North Melbourne is North Melbourne type thing, and they really lost to GWS, Bulldogs, and Port before that game against North. So I think that St Kilda need to bounce back, and I think they will bounce back, and I'm predicting them to win by 23 points. But I do like what is going on at Hawthorn, and I do think that they're genuinely a decent side. I think that Hawthorn are 16th at the moment, 2 wins. I think that if they had their key defenders, that they're looking potentially another win or 2 higher, and they're looking currently at like 10th or 11th place if they had their key defenders and didn't have such a bad injury run to start the year. So yeah, I generally have higher hopes for Hawthorn. I just think that they got smashed with injuries to start the year. GWS against Essendon. I'm going GWS. I think that, yes, Tom Green's in doubt, but also we just heard Xavier Dersmo last night is out injured, so I think that really does put pressure on Essendon, and I do think that Nick Martin could potentially go to the wing this week, now thinking about it, as Nikai might come into the 22. But yeah, I think that Tom Green's in doubt, but I think he gets up, and I think GWS wins by 18 points. And this is why we need team sheets, because we'd see the Port Adelaide team sheet and the GWS team sheet as they have guys in doubt. Then you got Bulldogs against Richmond. Richmond look utterly pathetic, but the Bulldogs look utterly pathetic. So going by the Bulldogs' last performance, I want to predict them to lose because I know that they're going to win. But if I predict them to win, are they going to lose? What are we doing here? So I'm going to predict Western Bulldogs to trounce Richmond, as even though Richmond do have some guys coming back, I think they'll be a little bit slow off their injuries to sort of return to form. So I'm going to go Western Bulldogs. So watch Western Bulldogs lose this week. Gold Coast against North Melbourne. I'm going to predict Gold Coast up at TIO and Darwin. I think it will be a scrappy game, but I think that Gold Coast need to respond after the utter shellacking they got in the Q Clash. As what position are they really in? Are they sort of still in that we're going to be in 10th place till around round 16 and then fall away? Or are they actually genuinely going to compete and slide into that 7th or 8th slot in the ladder? So I'm going to go Gold Coast by, I think they're going to really hand it to North Melbourne. I'm going to go Gold Coast by 55 points in an utter smashing here. Collingwood against West Coast. Collingwood are going to win that. Collingwood by, I think, 47 points, just because I think the West Coast are really struggling, and Elliot Yeo being out will just further that problem. Even though Jordan De Goey and Tom Mitchell are out for Collingwood, I don't think it's as bad of an issue, to be honest with you. And then Adelaide against Brisbane. Brisbane have like all of the injuries in the world. Adelaide, this one is going to be, I would think, the toughest one to predict, because part of me is just saying, yeah, Brisbane, they're going to do Brisbane type things. They're going to come back. Their guys are returning to form. They're going to come back. They're doing all right. They're not doing perfectly. And then Adelaide, home ground, won the showdown, won against North Melbourne the week before that, lost to Essendon in a heartbreaker, beat Carlton. So they're sort of on a decent run of form. And Brisbane, they beat Gold Coast. They lost to GWS pretty handsomely, and lost to Geelong pretty badly. Beat Melbourne and beat North Melbourne. So what are they really going to produce? Well, I'm going to go a little bit edgy and go Brisbane here. Even though it's probably against the grain, I'm going to go Brisbane by 8 points. So that pretty much is the video. Yeah, probably going to get some tips wrong here, as I've sort of gone against the grain with a couple of tips, but hopefully my tips get up, obviously, as that would help. But anyway, that is the video there, and I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.